Picture the last time you kissed someone. Maybe it was quick. A peck goodbye at an airport, half your mind already on the flight. Maybe it lingered longer than it needed to. Either way, freeze that moment. Now ask yourself something you've probably never asked out loud. Where did that actually come from? You've done this your whole life, thousands of times probably, without a second thought. And here's the strange part. There's a real chance it isn't even a human invention. Buried somewhere in that instinct is a trace of a species that vanished 40,000 years ago. One that never wrote a word, never built a city, and still might have taught us this. So who taught who? Kissing isn't romance. It isn't culture. It isn't something that evolved naturally inside the warm bubble of human civilization. It's older than written language, older than agriculture, possibly older than our species in its current form. What researchers have started piecing together, and this was only confirmed recently, which is genuinely unsettling, is that kissing might be one of the oldest surviving behaviors ever passed between two different kinds of humans. Not inherited, passed. Like a handoff across species lines that we never knew happened. That reframes everything we thought we understood about where affection comes from. To understand how strange this actually gets, we have to go back further than you'd expect. Not centuries. Millennia. The Bronze Age paper trail. The first place archaeologists found kissing written down wasn't a love poem. It wasn't a wedding ritual. It was a warning. In 2023, researchers Troels, Pank, Arbøll, and Sophie, Lund, Rasmussen published a study analyzing Mesopotamian clay tablets dating back roughly 4,500 years. What they found pushed the written record of romantic kissing nearly 1,000 years further back than anyone had previously credited, which had been ancient South Asian texts. But that's almost beside the point. The more revealing detail is what those tablets were actually saying. Scribes weren't documenting kissing like it was new. They were writing rules about it, warnings, social consequences, jealousy, disease, forbidden exchanges between people who shouldn't have been kissing at all. You send a heart emoji in half a second without thinking. These people were carving this behavior into clay because it already carried enough social weight to require documentation. Most people assume the earliest evidence of kissing tells us when it started. It doesn't. It tells us how long it had already been happening before anyone thought to write it down. The record isn't a beginning. It's a timestamp on something far older. And that's the ceiling of what written evidence can offer us. Tablets record what people chose to document, but biology doesn't need a scribe. Something else entirely pushes this timeline back even further. The virus that remembers. Here's something nobody tells you in school. Our most accurate record of ancient kissing isn't carved in stone. It's living inside human bodies right now. Herpes simplex virus type 1, HSV1, spreads almost exclusively through oral contact. Saliva, mouth to mouth. Researchers studying its mutation rate have used that biological clock to trace how long widespread transmission between humans has been occurring. What they found doesn't line up with Bronze Age tablets at all. The patterns suggest tens of thousands of years of consistent oral transmission. Not hundreds. Tens of thousands. A virus became a better historian than any archaeologist. Think about that contrast for a second. You worry about catching something from a kiss. Ancient humans were unknowingly seeding a pathogen that now lives in an estimated 67% of the global population under 50, according to the World Health Organization. You might literally be carrying a biological souvenir from a kiss that happened before the pyramids were a thought in anyone's mind. This stopped being a cultural question the moment it entered the genome. It's not about tradition or romance anymore. It's embedded in living tissue, replicating quietly in billions of people who have no idea. But if the virus goes back that far, whose mouths were carrying it first? The Neanderthal connection. In 2017, a researcher named Laura Weyrich at the University of Adelaide led a team that did something unusual. They analyzed the dental plaque preserved on Neanderthal remains. Not the bones. The plaque. That thin biological film that your dentist scrapes off twice a year contains a record of everything that ever entered a mouth. Food, environment, and crucially, microbes shared through direct contact with other mouths. What they found was a specific strain of oral bacteria living in Neanderthal mouths that also appears in modern Homo sapiens. The same strain. Across 2 different species. The most straightforward explanation researchers could find was direct saliva exchange. Occurring roughly 100,000 years ago, long before Neanderthals disappeared. This one finding quietly rewrote everything we assumed about who our ancestors were being intimate with. It wasn't just each other. You might hesitate to share a drink with someone you just met. Your ancestors were exchanging saliva with a species that had a different skull shape, different hands, different everything. And that encounter left a microbial fingerprint that persisted across 100,000 years into living human mouths today. Possibly yours. That's not a metaphor. That's a measurable biological trace of something deeply intimate. So if kissing predates our species as we know it, where does it actually begin? Full circle. Go back to that moment, the airport, the goodbye, the kiss you didn't think twice about. That didn't start with you. It didn't start with your culture, your language, or anything your civilization built. It started before written language existed to record it, before agriculture existed to sustain it, possibly before our species existed in its current form at all. That single unremarkable moment is a 100,000-year-old inheritance you never asked for and never noticed you were carrying. Every time humans have reached for that kind of closeness, in Neanderthal caves, on Mesopotamian clay, in every quiet moment since, they've been repeating something none of them fully understood either. That's the part that genuinely gets me. Nobody started this consciously. It just kept going, and now it's yours. So next time it happens, maybe don't overthink it. Just know you're a part of something much older than you.